Hey guys, so today I'm going to do a controversial parenting tag. But before I do, there's a few things I want to say before I get into the actual video. First things being that the views that I express are mine and they're my opinions and my beliefs, and I don't want any nasty comments or anything like that. I mean, if you disagree with me, then that's fine, you know, you can put down below that you disagree and put what you believe, but I don't want you to be nasty about it. You know, if you feel the need to have to swear at me or to just be rude, then I'd rather you just didn't leave any comments down below. So let's just get started into it. Pro-life versus pro-choice. I am very much pro-life. I'm a Christian. I don't believe in abortions. I feel like that life going inside you has a right to live, so I am very much pro-life. I think in extreme circumstances, then pro-choice, yeah, I could understand it being an option, but for me, I just can't, I wouldn't be able to do it. I don't think it would matter any of the circumstances. I'm Christian, like I said, and it just is not, it goes against my beliefs as a Christian, so I am very much pro-life. Baby wearing. I didn't really do that much when Raphael was little. We did have a sling, but he was a heavy baby. He was £8 one, and he was a heavy baby. We did it a little, but I think we had a sling, but I think we used it like once or twice. I think it's great if you want to do it. I love the contact we got when we did do it. But for us, it was just very heavy. It was too heavy sort of to carry around. Circumcision. Raphael's not circumcised, and we have no plans to do it. All I would say on that is to do your research. There's a lot of things I've read that aren't good about it, but if it is part of your religion, then you know, it's up to you guys, but for me, I don't see the need for it. Adoption. I think adoption's great. I think it's great if you're in it for the right reasons. I think if you're in it for the love of wanting a child and wanting to give that love to a child, then it's a great thing. I know people that haven't had a great experience with adoption, and that it didn't go to plan. A lot of things happen that shouldn't have. So I'm either way on it, and I think if you are going to adopt, I think you should look into it, because a lot of people are under the assumption that you get a cute little baby out of it, and that's just not the case. There are many kids in care that need adopting that are a lot older, so I would say just do your research on it. And these kids can have difficulties. Whether it be emotional or physical, they do have a lot of difficulties. So I would say, for me personally, I think it's a great experience, a great thing if you do it for the right reasons, like I said. Baby piercing. Okay, I don't agree with baby piercing. I don't think it's right. I think that baby should have a choice in whether they want their ears pierced. If you do it, then that's your choice, but for me, no, it's not happening. I mean, I know I've got a little boy, but when we have another one, and if it were a little girl, I wouldn't get her ears pierced. It would be something that she would have to ask me for, and to be able to understand actually what is going to happen, you know, just have that understanding of what it is. I don't think it's right to pierce your baby's ears, but like I said before in the start of this video, this is my opinion. If you do it, I've got nothing against you. Just personally, I don't think it's right. I wouldn't do it to my child unless they asked. Breast milk versus formula. Oh, this is a debate, isn't it? I never breastfed. Raphael formula fed from day one. I feel it should be the mum's personal opinion. I don't personal choice. I don't think they should be forced to feel guilty for not breastfeeding. For me personally, Raphael didn't get breastfed because I did not feel comfortable with it. I couldn't for me, my breasts are a very sexual thing, and it didn't feel right feeding him from him. And it may sound daft to you, but for me, I felt like if I were uncomfortable, then surely Raphael would pick up on that, so I didn't do it. When I were pregnant, the midwife made me feel very guilty about the fact that I were adamant that I were going to formula feed, and I just felt like a bad mum. But I don't think we should feel bad. I don't feel like my bond's any worse with Raphael than, say, a baby that had been breastfed, and he is a healthy, happy little boy, and I don't see any difference. Now, if you want to breastfeed, I'm all for it. It's great if you want to do it, yeah, and you're not self-conscious like I was, then yeah, that's great. I've got no problem with a woman sitting next to me breastfeeding. I've got no problem seeing people do it out and about. Just for personal preference, I couldn't do it. It was just not, I couldn't get my head around it. And like, I feel like there's a lot of stigma attached to both sides. I feel like women get criticised if they breastfeed out in public, and women who don't breastfeed get criticised. And I think as long as the baby's being fed and is happy and healthy, what's the problem? I think it should be the mum's personal choice, and I don't think we should be feeling guilty either way of what we decide to do. So that's my opinion on that one. What's the next? Spanking. Right. Let me be clear on this. Kicking the crap out of your kid or hitting them to the point where they're bruised and there's marks on them, don't agree with. I think a little tap on the hand if they're being really naughty and it's the only way to get their attention is alright. Raphael's been smacked on his hand once because it was a dangerous situation. He was running towards the road. Sorry guys, he's here. Alright, hold on guys, I'll be right back guys. Sorry about that. Raphael were hungry. So where were we? Spanking. Yeah, Raphael's only been hit once on his hand, and when I say hit, it was just like a no, and that was a case of he was running towards the road and wasn't listening to me shouting no, and the only way to do it was to just give him a little tap on his hand. And it was enough of a shock for him to realise what he was doing was dangerous. Like I said, I think that is fine. I think smacking your child to the point where you're either doing it all the time or you're leaving marks on your children, then it is not right. Next one. Co-sleeping. Now, I absolutely loved co-sleeping Raphael. We still do it sometimes if he's poorly and he gets in our bed. I think it is a great thing. I love how close he was to me and to Jonathan, and he loves, I mean, even now if he had half the chance, he would be in our bed all the time. He loves being in there with cuddles and stuff. He slept in our room till he was 9 months old. Because before then we were living with Johnny's mum and dad, and there just wasn't room for him to have his own room, so he was in our bedroom. And then when we moved, he had his own bedroom, which he went into fine, but again he loves coming into our bed and sleeping in our bed, and like I said, if he had his chance he would stay there all the time. I think if you want to try it, I think it's great, and as long as you know you're safe and you know you're not going to roll on them, then it's fine. What we used to do and what we do now as well is if he wants to come in our bed, we let him come in until he falls asleep, and then we'll move him into his bed, and then we can sleep without worrying about tossing over and falling on him. And I think it's I think people should try it because it is a good experience, and we absolutely loved it. again, if it doesn't agree with you, then it's fine, but for us, we really loved the course sleeping with him. Home versus public, perfect versus private versus charter schooling. For me personally, the schools around where we live are really good, so here we go in public school. If we had the money, we possibly would send in private school, but I think the public schools are just as good. I personally wouldn't homeschool Raphael just because I feel like he would miss out on a lot. There's a lot of things that I don't know about, that I don't understand. I'm not stupid, but I'm not the most cleverest person in the world. As you can tell, because I don't even think cleverest is a word. But I just feel like there will be holes in his education that I won't be able to fill because I won't understand it. And I mean, in regards to like maths isn't my strongest subject. There's a lot of things like equations and algebra that at school I struggled to even understand the basics of it. And also not just the education side of it, the social side. Raphael's a very sociable little boy and he loves being around his little friends. And I just feel if we were to homeschool him, he would miss out on that social side of school. So for us, he will be going to public school. I think if you want to homeschool, that's great. I think if you feel like you can give him that education that they need, that's a great idea. I don't know about charter school. I've never heard of that, so I can't really say much on that. I don't know much about it. I don't know whether they do it in the UK, but like I said, it's never sort of anything I've looked into. Mainly because Raphael is only 3, but also because I'm set on him going public school, I've never sort of looked into any other schooling options. Right, vaccinations. Raphael is fully vaccinated. I agree with them. I think they're a great thing to have. I'm one of these mums that I'd rather be safe than sorry. I'd rather make sure that he does have that bit more of a boost when it comes to things like the flu or things like that. I think you should do your research on it. I think if you're not happy getting vaccinated, then that's your choice. But for me personally, it was important that Raphael had the vaccinations and that he was sort of covered in a way. So that's all I'm going to say on that one. I would say just do your research if you're umming and ahhing about it. But for me personally, it was something I was set on. He were having the vaccinations. Medicating children. Now, Raphael has he has Calpol, and I think he's tried Nurofen for children. Now, I'm not one of these that lets him have it if it's a little snivel of a cold. I only give it to him if he really does need it. Like if he's got a fever or a really bad cough, then he has it. But I don't just give it to him willy-nilly, if that makes sense. I don't just let him have it if it's just like a tiny tickle of a cough or if it's just a little bit of a runny nose. I don't see the point in dosing your child up if it's not doing anything for them. So I am very sort of careful on when you can have it. So that's how I medicate him. He doesn't, unless he really needs it, he doesn't get it.
Eat it, Mummy.
Cloth versus disposable diapers. I'm not for or against cloth diapers. I think if you want to do that, then great. I'm just a lazy little thing, and disposable diapers were the things I wanted to use. I didn't really look into cloth diapers, but for me, Raphael won the disposable nappies. We're out quite a lot, like we do a lot of day things. I'll meet up with my friends and we'll go out quite a lot. And pardon me, whew. And with it being a full day thing, I didn't see the sense in having cloths of diapers. The disposable ones personally work for me. Like I said, I'm not for or against cloth diapers. It's just never anything that sort of interested me. I'm sure you probably save a lot of money, but it's just, again, disposable nappies work for a family. They're the easiest things to use for us personally. But like I said, I'm not for or against the cloth diapers. If you want to use them, then go for it. But for me, I'm just lazy and loved the fact that it was a quick whip it off and just chuck it in the bin and you didn't have to worry about it. Okay. CIO Method. Now for you who don't know that, it's the cry it out method. I have very strong opinions on this. I did not like it. I tried it once and Raphael got hysterical. I am one of these mums that I cannot stand to hear my child cry, and Jonathan was the same. We tried it one night and just threw the towel in. We were like, we can't do this. Raphael gets eczema on his arms, which makes him itch, and we found that when we did it that one night, he were itching his arms so much that he actually made them bleed. And I just didn't like the fact that he seemed to almost be that worked up that he was taking out on his arms being itchy. I think it for me it was a very it was a horrible experience and I wouldn't recommend it. But then having said that, I know I've got friends that it's worked amazingly for and that they could do it. I think if you're one of these mums where you're like me, you can't stand to hear your child cry, you don't like it, I would suggest not trying that one. There is one that I tried which I felt worked for us a lot better, and it's called the sorry, yeah, Raphael's in the room. It's called the pick it up, put them down method, and basically what it is you put them down, and if they cry you can go in, pick them up, comfort them, make them feel better, and then put them back down and go out the room. And then if they cry again, you go in and you keep doing that. And although it's a lot of work to keep going backwards and forwards, we just felt that that was the one that worked for us. Raphael wasn't getting hysterical, he wasn't crying as much, and it only took a week of doing that. And each night it was like about an hour and a half. I think our worst night, he went on for 2 hours. But it worked for us, that one.